But yeah, let's see here. Culprit is Pikachu, but he painted himself red to throw the authorities off. That's right. But yeah, don't know. Personally, wouldn't want to fight Harmonia's Birthright team with his builds. I'm not even at like max stats yet. If I did take the time to max them out, you know, it'd probably be really strong. I mean, even with the skills, it might be decently strong. I want to start Fate's Conquest soon. I have been lately in the process of trying to get an HD texture pack working, and it works for a little bit, but then Citra will just like randomly freeze and crash. And it's not been easy trying to troubleshoot it, because whenever I look it up, the people with similar issues is always like crashing like right on when they try to launch it. Not they get to play for a little while and then a couple minutes in it crashes, you know? So I don't exactly know how to fix it, but I would love to get it working with HD texture packs before starting it. So if I have the time, I would love to start Fate's Conquest here pretty soon, but I'm trying to see if I can get this working without it crashing and make it look a lot nicer than the Fate's Birthright playthrough did. But yeah, now speaking of work, you had a guy that flirted with you today, which made your anxiety spike, to which you felt so uncomfortable, and your coworker helped you. Oh, but everything all resolved and a-okay now, I assume. More like Farts Conquest. Yeah, you got him there. Ask me anything you'd like. AMA, ask me anything about the symbol of revival. What makes the Aurora drop a symbol of revival? 2 years ago, during the R incident, my jewel shop suffered considerable damage. Wait, you were a victim of the R incident? Yes. Some Pokemon who'd been exposed to R went berserk. Their rampage destroyed my shop, to say nothing of the damage done to my jewels and other goods. By that time, I already had the Aurora drop. I kept it stored safely in the shop. So, was the Aurora drop damaged too? No, as a matter of fact, it wasn't. Of all the jewels in my shop, the Aurora drop was the only one to remain unscathed. In fact, debris fell so perfectly around the Aurora drop that you might believe it was being protected. That's incredible. I guess there's some magic left in the world after all. Even if there isn't in, nah, let's not reference my first Pokemon essay. Ever since then, the Aurora drop became known as the jewel that survived the R incident. People started visiting my shop just to see it. And thanks to all that attention, my business was able to get back on its feet. Sounds like a valuable jewel, in more ways than one. What made you decide to bring it back to your mansion instead of keeping it at your shop? I decided to donate it to Rhyme City. The Aurora drop? Why donate something so precious to you? It's not just precious to me. That's exactly why I decided to donate it. Mayor Myers has done his part in making everyone hyped about Halloween again and improving our city by declaring the start of Pokemon Friendship Week. I thought it was about time I did mine. So I wanted to donate the jewel that survived the R incident as a symbol of Rhyme City's revival. I hope that by doing so, I can help liven up not just my shop, but the whole city as well. Wow, Dennis, I'm impressed. That's a wonderful gesture. I'm glad you think so. Not everyone is so pleased about it. Oh? Forget I said anything. I shouldn't burden you with concern over such personal matters. It has to do with the case. It was your wife! For now, I'm counting on you to find the Aurora drop as quickly as possible. Understood. We'll do everything we can. We gotta ask Growlithe. But yeah, while Nintendo has accelerated those plans, we're going to soon be locked out of the only way to access Fate's characters without purchasing other routes. Yeah, well, I mean, you already can't purchase the other routes anymore since that's down. So, you know, there's that. But yeah, I appreciate the get well soon there. Anyone got any ideas on what we should name this dog? We're gonna come up with a name for Growlithe here that I'll have to refer to Growlithe as for the rest of the playthrough. Now then, Mr. Barnes, will thank you not to leave the mansion until further notice. Vote Kitty after your actual dog. Your actual dog is named Kitty. Understood. Sounds like the police finished questioning Barnes. Let's go talk to him. We still have not asked Growlithe. Yeah. Oh my god. We're literally going to everything but ask Growlithe right then, and then Growlithe is gonna be like, yeah, it was this person. Brandon Barnes, butler of the Dennis residence. Like, my goodness. How did it come to this? Why are the police so sus of me? Excuse me, are you Mr. Barnes? Who might you be? I'm Detective Tim Goodman. Mr. Dennis has hired me to investigate the crime that occurred here. You vote Scruffles as Growlithe's name? Is that so? My apologies. I am Brandon Barnes. I work here at the Dennis residence as a butler. Do you mind if we ask you some questions, Mr. Barnes? I realize you must be tired since you were just questioned by the police. Please don't worry about that. If you've been hired by Mr. Dennis, then it is my duty to give you my full cooperation. Thank you. What would you like me to speak about first? Time of the incident. I was away when the incident occurred. It wasn't until after I'd finished my errand and entered the house that I realized something was amiss. I heard Turner cry out from the second floor. When I rushed upstairs, I found him collapsed on the floor in front of the jewel storage room. So that means Barnes was the first witness to arrive at the scene of the crime. Did you see the thief or their partner Pokemon? No, nothing like that. Wait, if Barnes ran up the stairs, you'd think he would have run straight into the thief. Unless the thief had already, broken through the window by that point. I don't know. If you didn't see anyone, they have escaped from the second floor. Did you check the storage room? Yes, the door was already open. And when I looked inside, I saw that the Aurora drop was gone. I then contacted Mr. Dennis and the police right away. Is there anyone who can corroborate your whereabouts at the time? Unfortunately not. It was only afterward that Mrs. Dennis came out of her room to see what the commotion was about. I mean, Mr. Dudo there that got punched by the red Pokemon should be able to corroborate that you weren't in that room. It was just a red Pokemon, right? And the only others in the house at the time were Growlithe and Clefable. Naturally, no one can take witness statements from Pokemon, so I'm afraid I have no alibi. That's where we come in. The Pokemon that live in this mansion might know something. About the culprit. Seconding Kitty, find quite funny your Harmonia call him that. Oh jeez. Mr. Barnes, do you have any idea who the thief might be? Not a clue, I'm afraid. But I do know that Mr. Dennis and I are the only ones who can freely use the key to the jewel storage room. No testimony. Okay. Growlithe guards that key with constant vigilance. So I imagine it would be very difficult for anyone else to take it from her. I suppose it's no great wonder that the police suspect me, given the circumstances. But didn't we establish that someone took Growlithe's key? Only people who could have taken the key to the jewel storage room from around Growlithe's neck. So it's not like they had their own keys. It's just they're the only ones that could have taken it from around Growlithe's neck. It's established that someone took the key from around Growlithe's neck. Just ask Growlithe! How long are we gonna delay this? I know, it's something so senseless. Because I guess the moment we ask Growlithe, we have case closed. At least this confirms that only those two have access to the key. Your game, Kitty is the name? Oh boy. About Ducklet.
Yes.
Ducklet is my dear partner, Pokemon. Wow. Just look at this photo. Has Ducklet with you there? Yes, isn't she adorable? Just look at her feathers. Simply beautiful. But that's not all. She's also incredibly clever and even helps me out with my work. Oh, excuse me. I'm terribly sorry. I tend to get a bit carried away when I speak about Ducklet. It's really no problem. You mentioned that she helps you with your work. What exactly does she do? Let's see. She runs errands for me, such as buying coffee beans from a local cafe. Oh, she buys coffee beans. Nice. There's a place nearby called the High Hat Cafe. Perhaps you've heard of it. You know, I like putting up my knees like this sometimes and adjusting my position, but for whatever reason, like a lot of the time, I can't hold this for very long because my right leg starts falling asleep and then I have to stop. I'm like, darn you, body. Regularly goes shopping there by herself. But yeah, so a man purse into satchel. Yeah, it looked like there was something like that went around Ducklet there that I assume gets carried around. If that's your go-to cafe, then it's gotta be the High Hat Blend. Guess I shouldn't be surprised that Rhyme City's elites have such a refined taste. I asked her to go to the cafe today, in fact, but she hasn't yet returned. She have wandered off somewhere. Do you have any idea where Ducklet might be? Unfortunately, no. Feathers found at the scene of the crime are Ducklet's, right? Yes, no question about it. It's always funny how Pokemon in these kinds of games like never leave like any feathers or cotton or hair or anything like that under normal circumstances. But the moment there's a case involved, you know, then they start shedding some in those specific areas. But I haven't the faintest idea why Ducklet's feathers would be there. Just the thought of her getting caught up in the crime somehow. I'm so worried I can hardly think straight. About the Aurora Drop. Out of all the jewels in Mr. Dennis's collection, he considers the Aurora Drop to be his most precious. He worked tirelessly to acquire it in the first place. You might even say the Aurora Drop is the physical manifestation, the crystallization of Mr. Dennis's career as a jeweler. Crystallization, we're gonna do like a Scarlet and Violet type theme. Wish nothing but swift retribution on the thief who stole it from him. Someone who speaks so formally. Barnes is a pretty passionate guy, isn't he? Please, Tim, find the Aurora drop, I beg you. Don't worry, sir. We're on the case. Okay. Based on Barnes' testimony, I'm really not surprised the police suspect him. Yeah. If only there was another witness at least. Growlith! Darn it! About that. Aren't you forgetting something, Tim? Huh? Barnes told us that Growlith and Clefable were in the mansion at the time of the incident, remember? Oh, right. Maybe the Pokemon saw something. Exactly. You can leave the rest to me. Let's go question them, Tim. Growlith first. Like, my god. Hey, Growlith. Sorry to bug you when you're already feeling down, but would it be alright if we ask you some questions? Where is Pikachu? But yeah. If you know your own cats, there should be a few feathers on this floor. Let's go question Kitty. It's gonna be the name here. We're here to catch the thief. We need your help to do that. Willing to talk to us if it'll help Sanji. Thanks. Sanji? Growlith's nickname for Dennis, near as I can tell. Ah, right. His full name is Sanjeev Dennis, so I guess Sanji makes sense. Anyway, Kitty, can we start with the questions? About you, Kitty. Gotcha. As Dennis's partner, it's your job to guard the mansion. And we already know the key to the jewel storage room is around your neck. It's important to Dennis, so guarding it is important to you. Makes sense. She says she never let anyone other than Dennis or Barnes even touch the key. That's why you feel extra responsible for what happened, huh? She's really got a strong sense of responsibility. Don't worry. The two of us are gonna crack this case. Time of the incident. Wow. Remember anything about the time of the incident? You don't know because you were napping. What? Breakfast was so tasty that you ate too much and it made you sleepy. Maybe someone drugged it? Been there, believe me. What are you even talking about? You woke up when Barnes got home. That would have been right before all the commotion happened. And when you woke up, your precious key was gone. That happened to me with a part on my truck recently. The thing that's broken on my truck right now is the carburetor, the thing that actually, you know, sends fuel into the engine, so it's very important to be working. And on taking it off, there's this one little piece that was still attached. Like, there's this bit on the bottom that can go up and down, and there's this little bit of metal that attaches it to, like, the base of the carburetor or the manifold or something there that's still attached. And I took off the carburetor so I could see, like, the part number so I could start looking for a replacement. And that little piece there that attaches to, like, the manifold there was hanging there. I was like, okay, yeah, I'll just leave that on there. So I brought it into the living room from the garage. I was looking for a part number, and, like, the piece was there at one point. But then I looked down a little bit later, and the part was gone. I was like, what the heck? It just vanished. I didn't realize that it wasn't properly attached in there, that it was just hanging semi-loose. So, you know, I didn't actually know what it did. I just knew that I was missing this tiny little piece of metal. And, you know, so I did a little bit of research. Yeah, asked this guy that runs this old parts store, and he was like, oh yeah, that's your accelerator pump. You kind of need that to drive. And I was like, oh, well, dang. Because we needed to reinstall the broken carburetor just for like a temporary 5-minute drive to bring it to my cousin's place to put it away for the winter, and then, you know, can leave the carburetor off until it gets replaced. So this part was missing, and I could not find this thing for the life of me. Checked all around the living room, all around the carpets there, even went around with like a little magnet trying to get it. Looked under things, looked in the doorway, looked out the front there, looked in the garage in case it fell there, but I could have sworn it went missing in the living room. So instead, my dad and I tried to fashion like a coat hanger into the right shape, like just cut off a little bit of metal and then like bend it to go through like the hole in the carburetor and the hole in like the manifold there that I needed to, or the base of the carburetor, or whatever's left attached there. And it was just not working, so we decided to look for that part one last time. So we decided to lift this low down coffee table completely out, and we did that, and there it was, like right in the center underneath, just this little piece of metal like that prevented me from being able to drive it at all. That was luckily found, and I'm gonna be so careful not to lose that anymore. But it was a similar situation of, I swear that thing just vanished. Somehow it like fell off and it bounced to like right under the center of the table there. Like, my goodness, I'm so glad that it was found though. Like, my god. Yeah, I can tell you're upset. But yeah, genuinely thought that like Growlithe is too obvious. She was probably asleep. You were right. do whatever it takes to help us catch the thief. Thanks. I'll come ask for an assist if anything comes up. About Barnes. She says Barnes is a kind and well-mannered person. He and Dennis are close. She's never seen them fighting or arguing. Mr. Dennis really does seem to trust Barnes after all. Growlithe likes Barnes too. Judging from what Growlithe says, it's hard to think of Barnes as a likely culprit. It's the wife! Wasn't anything in Growlithe's testimony that could help us prove Barnes' innocence. Only one left to ask is Clefable. I'll do what I can to get Clefable talking to us. Thanks, Pikachu. Where were you on the night of the 5th? What? I think we're thieves returning to the scene of the crime. Got it all wrong. We're not here to steal anything. We're actually great detectives looking to catch the thief. Please, can you answer some questions? Yes, really. Come on, you can trust us. Yeah, help us out. I'm sure Claudia's bad mood will clear up too. That's not good. So you're willing to talk to us. Thanks. Because Clefable was worried we'd do something bad to Miss Dennis. About you, Clefable. You have a job here at the mansion. No job per se, unless you count spending time with Claudia. Isn't it tough hanging out with someone so prickly? Claudia's not a bad person, you say? Sorry, didn't mean to be insulting. So Claudia's always arguing with someone or other. But when it's just you and her together, she starts to regret the whole thing. I get it now. Her job is to cheer her up when she gets into arguments. Oh, you're actually pretty nice. I bet Clefable's really important to Mrs. Dennis. Time of the incident. Did anything strange happen today? Fable's saying she got real sleepy while playing in the mansion this morning. Okay. So many people are getting sleepy, so the food was drugged or something. She dozed off and doesn't know what happened after that. That's too bad. About Barnes. What do you think of Barnes? You get along with him alright? Claudia doesn't like Barnes, so Clefable tries not to have much to do with him. But she doesn't think Barnes is a bad person. After all, she says, Barnes ran to help Turner when he got hurt. Wait, does that mean Clefable saw Barnes going upstairs to help Turner? Yeah, it's gotta. Clefable, what else can you tell us? Clefable was dozing near the front door this morning. When Barnes got home doing stuff outside, she woke up and greeted him at the door. Then, Clefable and Barnes heard Turner cry out on the second floor, so they both went running upstairs. Okay. I mean, is anyone gonna believe me when I present this as my, evidence and stuff? Testimony, and that's when, to their surprise, they found Turner on the floor. That means when Turner was attacked, Barnes was still on the first floor. Yeah, they must well have been. And Claudia set up Barnes. She musta.
Hey, let's start deducing.
Let's start deducing. Sure.
Okay.
Alright, I got some useful information. Let's stop for a moment and get our thoughts together. Based on everything we've heard, is there anything that suggests Barnes is innocent? Let's review the information we gathered and see what we come up with.
Okay.
I learned that Clefable greeted Barnes when he returned to the mansion, and Growlithe said she woke up at exactly the same time. Barnes and the others only became aware of the crime after that. Doesn't that mean Barnes couldn't be the culprit? Barnes was on the first floor when Turner was attacked. That would have made it very difficult for Barnes to steal the jewel. I mean, we established that there was a red Pokemon in there, and no one else. So it was someone that sent the Pokemon, which means that, in theory, it could be anyone. But it's the wife. I'm not sure we can prove Barnes' innocence with that alone. Yeah. We can't disclose that testimony came from Pokemon. No one would believe us. Looks like we're going to need other evidence to prove his innocence. I mean, we could probably, oh, but that's good still. We could probably prove that we can understand Pikachu, though. Like, there are, tests that we could do to prove that we understand one another, Can't lift the suspicion around Barnes with Clefable's testimony alone. I think we're going to need some other kind of evidence to prove his innocence. But where should we look for it? Go to the Hi Hat Cafe and see if we can find Ducklet? Nothing immediately comes to mind, except Ducklet. Times like this, it's best to try investigating other leads. We might find a thread somewhere unexpected that leads us back to this. To get close to the truth of this case, we've got no choice but to find the Pokemon that witnesses saw. Witnesses reported seeing a red Pokemon and Ducklet. I wonder if the Pokemon that cut open the jewel case is the culprit's partner. Makes sense to think that. No such human was seen by witnesses. Yeah, because they sent the Pokemon. Having said that, though, we might learn something if we can find the red Pokemon. Let's head into the city and get some leads on that red Pokemon. I'm sure we'll be able to figure out what Pokemon it actually is. At this point, it seems pretty unlikely that Barnes is the culprit. But then, why did Ducklet leave from the second floor window? Seems unlikely that it's got nothing to do with a jewel theft. Finding Ducklet would be the quickest way to confirm that. Good call. Let's head into the city and look for her. Okay, begin deducing!
Okay.
Figure out where Ducklet went after she left the mansion. Hi Hat Cafe. Let's piece together the information we've gathered. Okay. But yeah, boopity bop. Oh. That was the only thing here, but like there was evidence that she went to the Hi Hat Cafe. Yeah, she went to the cafe. I've already been told this. Why is it not an option? To go get stuff.
Okay.
We want to continue our investigations to gather info from the city. Where should we go? Should we go after Ducklet or search for the red Pokemon? If you're unsure, why don't we try following Ducklet? I think we have a better lead to go on for that than for the red Pokemon. Oh, right. I did hear that Ducklet was supposed to go buy coffee beans today. I'll bet you she went to the Hi Hat Cafe. So what was this about determining where Ducklet is? Maybe during like the incident? I guess you're right. We should go search the cafe. Let's not waste any time, Tim. Yeah, let's go do that. And stuff. Sup? I take it you've heard what Mr. Dennis has to say. Hi, Jesse. Hi. I'm guessing he also told you about his butler. He's definitely not pleased that Barnes has fallen under suspicion. It sure seems that way. In my position, I'm not at liberty to share all the information we've gathered. But if there's anything I can do to help, just let me know. Thank you. The time of the incident. What was the situation in the mansion at the time of the incident? We're still looking into that. I'm sure you'll get more direct answers by asking the witnesses themselves. He's right. We should take this one step at a time and gather our own intel. Oh, Barnes. I was told Barnes is the police's prime suspect. Well, the circumstantial evidence certainly seems to be pointing in his direction. He doesn't seem terribly convinced. Does anything strike you as odd? Yes, actually. I can't think of a single motive for Barnes to steal the jewel. I can think of a motive for the wife. He doesn't appear to bear any ill will towards Mr. Dennis, and he's in no trouble financially. That being said, we may uncover a motive in the course of our investigation. For now, I can't say anything with certainty. There's only one person here with a motive. Understood. Oh, the Aurora Drop. I hear the Aurora Drop is an incredibly valuable jewel. The Aurora Drop's not just valuable, it's famous throughout the entire jewelry industry. Then there must be plenty of people who'd like to get their hands on it. Could the jewel have been stolen by an intruder? I can't rule out that possibility. But based on current evidence, I'd say the likelihood of a burglary is low. There is a shattered window. You know, about my dad. Inspector Holliday, I know this has nothing to do with the current case, but you want to ask me about Harry? Yes. Do the police have any new leads on my father's whereabouts? I'm sorry, Tim, but we haven't made any developments on that front. Oh, well, thanks anyway. I still don't understand it myself. Harry was working on the R case when he went missing. So it stands to reason that if you followed that thread, you'd find Harry too. But that case has been closed and we still don't have a single clue. Seriously, where did Harry disappear to? Don't be discouraged, Tim. Look at how far you've come in the 2 years since you moved to the city in search of your father. You've become such a great detective that the mayor himself recognized you with an award. You'll find Harry, I'm sure of it. And in the meantime, I'll keep offering whatever help I can. But yeah, okie doke, have a good rest of the day there, Reggie Bump. Take care. Appreciate you stopping by and hanging out. Just got like a loose mustache hair in my mouth. Yeah, you're right. Thanks, Inspector Holliday. If I for Halloween, I might go buy a Spirit Halloween one of these days to see if they have something like a Luigi costume. If I picked up a Luigi costume for Halloween, what would be funnier? Just like getting some gel and curling up my own mustache, or putting a fake mustache on top of my mustache that would work perfectly fine anyway. What would be the funnier thing? All right, let's go. Let us go investigate the city. What have we out here?